Hi students, welcome to Flute Hygiene number 2. This exercise has two main purposes. One is to get your fingers faster and just build finger technique in the third register, and the other is to help you to play softer in the third register, which is really hard. So for freshmen, first year students, I don't usually emphasize soft playing very much because it's much more challenging than mezzo forte and forte. So typically we're going to focus on just developing the mezzo forte and forte sound for the first semester or longer. And then as you build strength and build just more endurance and just physical like coordination of all these muscles, there's so many muscles in here that have to develop, and we develop them by playing. So as that happens, we'll start to add more soft playing. You can certainly start now. Here are two things to consider about how to play in the low register and how to play in the high register, and then how to play soft and how to play loud. If you're playing in the low register, your air needs to be fairly slow or fairly close. So I was saying in Flute Hygiene 1, maybe my air comes this far for a B on the staff. Much farther for the next B up. So that has to do with how fast or slow my air, right? The speed of the air determines the register. If I have fast air, it's going to be a high register. You can hear I'm playing fairly loud in each one of these. The dynamic has to do with the amount of air, not the speed of the air, the amount of the air. And so if I want to play softly, I just need a little bit of air. So how do I do a little bit of air? We're making this aperture, right, the opening, we're making it smaller to let less air out at one time. So if I have a small, if I just play forte, you can see. Maybe you can see. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I'm going to play Flute Hygiene number 2 in the high register. This is the exercise. So I'm really squeezing here quite a bit to make the little teeny tiny aperture. I think about like spaghetti. If you have spaghetti, you're like, and you slurp up spaghetti. This is like the opposite. You want that little, as if a little tiny spaghetti strand is being slurped, but instead of being slurped, it's coming out. But it's very, very tiny. So the opening that you give when you're in the high register to play softly is going to be quite small. And I just kind of show you what the embouchure looks like. Not everyone's embouchure will look exactly the same, but you're going to start to see some similarities. You might see that in some of the flute listening assignments. Usually the camera's pretty far away, but there are so many tutorials online you can see. Sometimes it just really helps to see yourself. So again, practice this in a mirror. You can go as slowly as you need to go to practice it perfectly. I want all of your fingers to be just perfect. So don't worry about how fast you're going. Be more concerned with how sort of perfectly you're playing. I want you to play with good technique. And that's another topic, of course. We're going to cover all these things. But we don't want to push too hard on keys. We don't want our fingers flying around. Like it's just too much movement. We want to have as refined of a movement as we can. And you can experiment a little bit. I do play these with metronome, but then I also will do kind of what I just did now as an example for you. This is how I'll practice, because as I'm playing, if I hear something and it's not very even, I might slow it down and double check and then think about how my fingers are feeling. And then as I get it, you can see, you know, I sped up, right? It's thundering here in Murray today. Maybe you can hear that on the video. But this is number 2. The goal is as soft as possible, and the goal is as fast as possible, no faster. So meaning like, don't play messy just to play fast. Play it as fast as you possibly can, but play it like cleanly and with good technique and as good of a tone as you can use, all the while working towards playing softer and softer and softer. It's a lifetime exercise. You can get softer and softer and softer forever more in your life, and faster and faster and faster seemingly. So that's exercise number 2. So good luck with this. It's a kind of a double 2 for 1, 2 for the price of 1, which is good. Double the practice buck, the bang for your practice buck. Have a good practice session.